Hello, good game. Welcome back, ghouls and goblins. I hope you're all having a magical day. Thank you so much for taking the time to support the channel. Make sure to like the video right away. It helps so much, more than I can ever convey. And, I really do appreciate each and every one of you who's been helping support the channel along our journey. I don't know if you've seen, but I just reached my newest, highest rank ever. Rank number 3. Um, you know, Wolf, what a grind. You know what I mean? That was probably about 30 hours of straight playtime. Taking a nap in between a little bit, but Wolf. So we're taking a little bit of a step back, looking at some spoilers today, relaxing, and maybe we'll play some limited or something later, some brawl. Just having fun for the next little bit while we wait for new cards. We'll probably play some ranked too, don't worry, but I'm just glad to have that commitment put behind me. Of course, if you are new to the channel, subscribe and you'll be entered in to win 500,000 gems and a complete D&D rare playset, which is really cool, and that's going to trigger at 35,000 subs. So I know I'm kind of rambling here a little bit today, and that's just kind of where I want to be, right? I just want to talk about where my week's been. I know I've not been, super prevalent with the content like I typically am. Normally doing 2 videos a day, slipped back down to 1. We had a massive heat wave in the Northwest, and yeah, I got some pretty nasty sunburns, and I was basically incapacitated, couldn't walk, was just throwing up for a couple days, and I'm happy to say, other than the itchiness of my skin, I'm good to go. So that's really cool, and excited to be making new content, and spending a lot of that time while we were bedridden, pushing rank. We qualified last month for the top 1200, which is really nice. I think we got like rank 700 or something, 780. And then again, racing into Mythic at the start of the month, just like last night, reaching rank number 3. So, that's kind of what I've been up to. Sorry if that doesn't interest you, but if not, hopefully these spoilers do, right? So like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. All right, so there's a lot of cards to talk about, and in all honesty, I'm exhausted. It's been so hot out. I've not been sleeping a ton or even great. So we're just gonna hit the heaters, right? Let's just talk about the things that stood out to me. Of course, as the cards continue to come out, we're gonna go through them more in depth and start trying to make up sample decks, etc., etc., etc. Right now, we're just looking to gain general awareness so we can connect, those dots once we're done, because it's like building a puzzle without the picture. So we have to, first you flip all your puzzle pieces over the right way, and then you can kind of look at what's going on here, sort by color first, and then try to connect, the pieces that seem to fit together nicely. It's crazy how much it is just like that. So today we're going to talk about the things that I liked, and if I miss anything, right? If there's something that you liked within today's spoilers, June 30th, and I know we're a little bit behind, but we're going to hit a couple of these out today. Let me know in the comments below. All right, so starting out, Orcus, Prince of Undeath, for 4 plus X. So pretty pricey, a minimum cost of 4 for the 5/3 with flying and trample without triggering his abilities. If you want to trigger those abilities, we will need to cast it for 5, for 6, for 7, and who knows where that ends up. And of course, when it enters the battlefield, we get to choose one of the abilities. Each other creature gets -X until the end of turn. You lose X life. Each other creature, so you're not doing any damage to the prince, which is nice. So it's a field wipe, and that's really, really, really cool. Pretty expensive, but you do get, a 5/3 with flying and trample out of it, which is nice. Or you can return up to X target creature cards with total mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. They gain haste until the end of turn. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's expensive, don't get me wrong, but wow, what a versatile card. It's a creature. It has flying and trample, 2 forms of evasion. I love it. It can double down as a field wipe, or it's a recursion engine from your graveyard, which is really, really good. Casting it for 7 mana, you're going to get 3 creatures back from your grave. Potentially 3/1/1s, or a 1/1 and a like a 1 mana and a 2 mana card. So I think that's really, really good. And without trying to pin it into a deck, we know where it fits. But expensive. It's a legendary, but I like it. I honestly think it's pretty cool, right? So moving on from the prince without getting hung up on it, Instrument of the Bards. Now, I'm not sure where this card fits, but I think it's good. Investigating further, it's a legendary artifact for 1 green mana. Interesting. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you may put harmony counters on Instrument of the Bards, right? So at your upkeep, 1 counter on it, and they're calling them harmony counters. We can pay 4 mana plus tapping the Instrument of the Bards to search our library for a creature card with mana value equal to the number of harmony counters on Instrument of the Bards. Reveal it, put it into your hand. If it's a legendary card, create a treasure token, and then shuffle. So it's not a creature. Typically a mono green aggro deck wants to play creatures and attack immediately with those creatures. And this is just going to sit on the sideline. So it will be a new style of mono green deck, but I think that the value is still here, right? The ability to, just search your library for a creature card. That's so good. You know what I mean? You could be running one-ofs, kind of like a toolkit deck, and I just really like it. And the fact that you get to create a treasure token if it's legendary means it's, really only costs 3 instead of 4. And I guess the hardest part will be having it sit in play turn after turn after turn, getting those counters on it. This could be something that gets played more in other formats other than standard. Like, I think it still could probably fit and work, but maybe this goes somewhere where you can proliferate something like this, right? And then you can put those harmony counters on at an expedited rate and pull big baddies out of your deck, but before turn 5, right? Because that's what we want to pull is an Elder Gargaroth out, right? So I like it. It intrigues me. I don't think it fits in any of our current decks, but I do think that there is a lot of hope for it. Kind of like in Search of Greatness, that 2 green mana enchantment that allows you to scry or play something for free of higher mana value. I think that's pretty good as well. But it didn't fit in our current archetype, and we are still in a place where it is dominated by, aggro and the Great Henge, and it just is what it is for now. But things will change once September rolls around. So, moving forward, we have a ton of limited cards in today's talk. And of course, don't worry, free-to-play individuals, I've got your backs covered. We're going to be doing an in-depth review of all the free-to-play cards and, what free-to-play decks we're going to be working towards at the end. A lot of dice mechanics as well, which I'm super excited about. We first seen the treasure chest. I was like, man, I hope we see more of this. Well, we got more of it. But moving on here to the Frog Hemoth. First of all, love the name. Second of all, the art. Pretty cool, right? For 5 mana, it's a 4/4 with trample and haste. I'm listening. Look at all this text, you guys. You remember what I said about cards with a ton of text? There's not even room for flavor text on here. That's how good it is. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile up to that many target cards from their graveyard and put a +1/+1 counter on Frog Hemoth for each creature card exiled this way, and you gain 1 life for each non-creature card exiled this way. I'll allow it. The 5 mana value is a little heavy, I'll admit, but we're going to get there early, right? We know it. And trample, haste, and so you basically can guarantee that you're dealing combat damage to your opponent, getting the counters on, gaining the life. And of course, as it gains counters, the next turn it attacks, it still has trample. It's going to deal even more damage, and then it's going to get, some more creature cards exiled from their graveyard, hopefully. So I like it. Frog Hemoth, 2 thumbs up. Moving on, The Return of Knights. This is not the only knight, and it's not even the only rare knight, which is pretty cool. So we're seeing knights kind of come back in action, which is great. Knights before September, right? We still have Eldraine. Eldraine was filled with knight cards, so we're going to get some knight synergies, hopefully reappearing before they get nuked. Triumphant Adventurer for 2 mana, a 1/1 with Death Touch. As long as it's your turn, Triumphant Adventurer has first strike. Whenever Triumphant Adventurer attacks, venture into a dungeon. I really like this. The Death Touch first strike is, auto kills basically. And the venture into dungeons, I think is going to be good. Right now seems to be very lackluster. We've kind of just been teased with, some common dungeons, I'm going to call them. I don't even know if they had rarities. But nothing that stands out to me is like, ooh, I got to play that card. But a ton of dungeons and venture mechanics revealed to us so far. So really looking forward to seeing what other dungeon cards that we can get in the fray here. So I like Triumphant Adventurer. I'm happy to see Knights be re-included. And moving on to Varus Silver Moon Ranger. Silvery Moon Ranger for 3 mana. It's a 3/3 elf human, which is kind of cool. Reach and ward 1. Whenever you cast a creature or planeswalker spell, venture into a dungeon. This ability triggers only once each turn. And whenever you complete a dungeon, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. The dungeons we've seen so far take a lot of turns to complete, right? There is a lot of venturing to do there. There's like 6 rooms that you've got to go through. So it doesn't seem great there. But again, I think that there's going to be more dungeons revealed. We're going to have to wait and find out, though. I liked the Rune Seeker. You have the room abilities of the dungeons trigger an additional time. Cool. Zolto, Fire Giant Duke for 5 mana. It's a 7/3 with trample, and whenever it is dealt damage, venture. It's not outstanding, but it is pretty cool and probably a very good limited card. Not that I want to be talking about limited a lot, but just mentioning the rares and what I think of them personally. Moving on, we've got Dungeon Descent, a land that is basically required for you to play the dungeon mechanic because you can pay 5, tap an untapped legendary creature you control. Not good. And you have to do it at sorcery speed. Extra not good to venture into a dungeon. So, this is a rare land I'm probably going to avoid, in all honesty. I don't really think this is worth justifying wildcards on. If you pulled in limited and you're using dungeons, great, go for it. But I won't be buying this. This is not like a dual land, right? This is not a pathway. That is for sure. Moving on from my disappointments, we have the Meteor Swarm for 3+X at sorcery speed, dealing 8 damage divided as we choose among up to X target creatures and or planeswalkers. So, casting it for 4 to deal 8 damage to something. Not too shabby, but it's not great, right? And of course, they're only creatures and planeswalkers, so why not just run a field wipe, right? You have to cast it for 4 anyways to deal it to one thing. Storm's Wrath, I think, is the red one. 4 damage to each creature and planeswalker, so... probably not great, but really good in limited. Any removal is great in limited. As soon as I say that word, it's like, moving on. Yang T. Malison, I guess. Wong T. Malison? I really don't know, you guys. This is a 2/1, and whenever... it cannot be blocked as long as it's attacking alone, which is pretty neat. It is also a rogue, which is... It's frightening, let's be honest. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, venture into a dungeon, which is fine, right? We've not seen any threatening dungeons so far, so I'm not too worried about it. But again, that's a good venture engine that you can use every single turn. Don't mind it. Moving on. What can we find? Oh, the last card of today's video is the Zaryal Arc Duke of Avernus. I don't even know. It's blocked out by the whip. Avernus. +1. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until the end of turn. 0. Create a 1/1 red devil token, and when it dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. I like that. -6, you get an emblem with at the beginning of your first combat phase on your turn, untap target creature you control. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase, Wolf. This is a 4 CMC, 4 loyalty planeswalker. I do not mind it. It's maybe not meta defining right now. It doesn't take a deck that we already have, turn it to 11, but I definitely think that this is going to see some standard play. A 4 CMC red planeswalker that can A, protect itself when it enters through the 0 ability, right? If your opponent has just a creature, you can chump block them with this, get a little damage in. At which point, you can play a big old baddie for 5, right? A 5 CMC creature that did not have haste, boom, now it does, and +1, +0. I'm hoping something with trample, right? We're just saying what it is. We're not going to pick something out yet. A 5 CMC red card with trample, perfect. That is going to be absolutely phenomenal. At which point, if you get another +1, that's cool. You probably have already won at this point. If not, maybe you went into defensive mode with it and somehow made it to the -6, or maybe you had a Vorinclex, right? So that would be really cool for the emblem. And now when we're talking about the emblem, if you had creatures with vigilance, now this would be very good because they would not tap. Yes, you get to untap one thing, so have one thing without vigilance if you need. But if you had the majority of your creatures with vigilance, with the emblem in play, you just have multiple combat steps, which I like. So, this establishes a board state, right? Again, through the 0 ability. If it wasn't for that 0 ability, I would be a little bit nervous. It would be cooler if it was a +1 ability. But the fact that you can play the Planeswalker and now create a creature to help defend the Planeswalker, I really, really like that. So we're going to see what Zaryal has in store for the meta. I like it. So what did you guys think of all the cards that we looked at that were from the 30th? I know this is a shorter video, but we're way behind on these spoilers. Just kind of talking about the ones that I think look fancy. And of course, we're going to have a more in-depth review of the commons and uncommons as we continue, because that is really something that I need to digest to determine what is relevant in standard once I see the full picture, right? Because we can go down that rabbit hole right now, but then we're basically just discussing limited cards, which I know isn't what a lot of you guys want. However, if you do, definitely let me know in the comments below, because I've been thinking about some collaborations potentially, bringing in some limited individuals or not really even content creators, but just people from the MTG community in general who I know have an in-depth knowledge base, have been doing this for many, many years. It would be cool to give them a platform to speak on, because it's their info that I get and regurgitate to you, right? And they do charge for this info sometimes, so I think it may be potentially cooler just to bring them on the show, and then they can advertise their product for themselves, which could be pretty cool, instead of just buying their product for myself and then just like giving it to everybody for free, which we still do want to give you guys a lot of value as well. And I've not even talked to this individual yet at all. It's just an idea if you guys want, of course. Thank you for your time and attention. This is June 30th, Adventures into the Forgotten Realms. I hope you guys are excited. July 1st is up next. Thanks for your time. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel to win a complete rare playset as well once we hit 35,000 subs. So you definitely need to share this channel out a few times. We've got a little bit of subscribers to go, but I have faith, you guys. I believe in you. And of course, we'll see you soon in the next.